The U.S. Senate, as an institution, the body itself, has just been denounced by the Atlantic magazine. The piece was written by a liberal, so you already know what the conclusion was. The Senate is racist. Why? Well, because smaller states have proportionally more white people in them. The article argues that the Senate's signature feature, which is equal representation for all states, that's why the Senate exists, should be abolished. Even though the U.S. Constitution explicitly forbids this, the piece argues it can, in fact, be done without a constitutional amendment. Leslie Marshall is a radio show host, and she joins us tonight. Leslie, thanks a lot for coming on. So how exactly is the U.S. Senate, just by its structure, racist?
Well, if you look at the composite of the United States, and you could say sexist as well if you want to go on the theory of this article, the Senate doesn't properly represent the United States because, as you had mentioned, the small states have 2 senators, as every state does of our 50, and the small states actually have, if you break it down statistically, larger representation. And what you have then is you have white men representing a less white nation as we go forward. We don't see the Hispanic, the African American, or certainly the female population represented in the diversity that we've seen most recently elected into the House in the midterms, as an example. We don't have that in the Senate.
Okay, but the Senate, we've made it 250 years with the Senate organized this way. It was organized this way by design. I don't think the framers imagined a country where the small states would have white majorities and the big states wouldn't. I mean, it's not really a racial question, is it? Why make it one?
I think actually the racial component is fair to look at and to ask, but I think it goes beyond that. I think we need to look at, did the framers, because you mentioned, did the framers know or have any idea, certainly not only how large we would become, what our numbers would be as a nation, but what our diversity would be. And I think that goes hand in hand. We've made changes to the Constitution in the past. Look, you can actually abide by the Constitution, Tucker, keeping right. 2 senators per state, and then adding to that based on population, which you know the framers at one time considered as well before they wrote the final.
So, I mean, you know as well as I, this is just obviously it's just a power grab by the left, and I don't think it will ever happen. But I wonder if we're going to take these principles seriously. What do you make of Gavin Newsom? So the argument is that people can't be represented unless their representatives look like them, have the same DNA as they do, have the same race. But a non-white state, California, non-white majority, just elected a white guy, as you would say, governor. Why should he be allowed to be governor of a state that's not majority white? I'm serious.
No, I'm being serious as well. I don't accept the argument that you're putting forth, because I don't believe that only a woman can represent me as a woman.
Oh, I thought that's what you were saying.
Only a woman can represent me.
Well, I agree with you, of course.
No,
I don't agree with that either, and I would never argue it. But.
No.
Okay.
No. What I'm saying is, to properly represent all Americans, if you look at the Constitution, it also gives us political equality. Individuals, citizens, not states' political equality, individuals and citizens. We don't feel our vote counts. Why? Each and every individual in this nation, because not each and every individual in this nation feels that they're represented, whether it's in numbers in the Senate, for example, or in the diversity.
You're making the same argument you did the first time, so I got it right, I think, that diversity, whatever that means, is like a critical factor in political fairness. And you guys in California just elected Gavin Newsom, who does not by any standard represent the state. It's not majority white. It's not majority male. You just elected a white male. So, like, again, why should he be allowed to be governor? Why is that not like a racist act, electing Gavin Newsom? I'm serious.
Because
he's a liberal?
That's what I said. No, well, it doesn't have to do with just your skin color. It also has to do with what legislation do you want to put forth that'll be in the best interest of the people in the state of California. And he obviously mirrors and echoes the sentiments of the ideology of the majority of the people that voted for the governor in the
But why does no one ever complain about this? I mean, I just noticed we're all very, like, we need to look like the people we represent, but like Bill de Blasio represents a city that looks nothing like him. But we're okay with that because he's liberal? Like, why is that? Why does no one ever accuse Bill de Blasio? Why shouldn't Bill de Blasio step down today in the name of diversity and, I don't know, let his wife run the city? I'm not joking.
Well, if you look at Bill de Blasio's family, I think his family is the new American diversity. His wife is African American. His children are biracial. So I think actually that was a good example to put forth.
But the patriarchy is still in charge. No. I'm sorry. His wife is not mayor of New York City. Neither is his kids.
No. But you're mixing up color and number. You're mixing up.
No. I never introduce color into
color
these conversations.
and
The left does. No. Well, I wish we had more time, but now I've talked myself into being very concerned about this. So maybe you'll come back and we can explain why it's okay for him to be mayor.
Because the reason the left brings it up, is because of the numbers, which you and I have talked about before,
they bring it up
which
as a
is the
political
reason
cudgel
I
to beat the
support
other
getting
side
rid of the
into submission.
Electoral College.
Okay. Leslie Marshall, great to see you.
You too.
Well, the left has a